Very much so is. It's going to be an awesome series. Yeah, India, I feel that they've certainly got the team now and the firepower to be able to really give Australia a huge challenge at home. I know the last time they met in Australia, India played very, very well. So they will have their confidence from that last tour that they had. But just knowing the firepower that India do have with bat and ball, and how they continue to come together, Australia going to have to be at their very, very best to be able to win that series. It's going to. I think some of the cricket's going to be played during that series could be as good a cricket we've seen for a long, long time with the calibre of players that are playing in it, and they are all at their very, very best right now. Look, when it comes to, I'll just answer the second question first. So, when it comes to the Aussie quicks, the one thing that they've shown throughout their careers, and especially the last sort of 4 or 5 years, how incredibly resilient they are. Once the bowlers like Stark, Hazelwood, and Cummins, once they get up and going, they are very resilient. They don't really break down very often at all. Josh Hazelwood's been a bit more sort of up and down with his hamstring injuries that he's had in the last few seasons, few summers in Australia, but in general, they are very hardened bodies and test match fit bowlers, which is what every fast bowler's dream is, to be able to be that resilient. So there's no question they'll be managed whenever we go through that series, a 5 test match series, but that'll be the challenge that India have as well. Because there's no question that their pace attack, India's pace attack, will be where they predominantly win that series. They've got the firepower to be able to do it, but to be able to do it 5 test matches in a row in Australia, they'll have to rotate them as well, because there's no question, even though Ashwin obviously is a ridiculously skilled bowler in all conditions, same with Jadeja, but the assistance won't be there as consistent as it is in other parts of the world. So their effectiveness, they'll still be effective, but how effective they'll be, that'll be the test, and that'll be the challenge for the Aussie batters. When it comes to the opening batter, look, Steve Smith made the call to be able to go and open, and I think he should stay there. Cameron Green came in and batted at number 4 and did a brilliant job. His 100 that he got in New Zealand was something very special. He's the perfect number 4 candidate now with the future moving forward. Steve Smith, I believe the reason why he didn't do so well over the previous couple of test matches is just he was a little bit off with his technique. Just a little bit off. To see him getting out a couple of ways, which I've never really seen him get out before. So I think I know he would have had time just to go away, make some little technical adjustments. And look, if he opens and he makes those little adjustments, he can be incredibly successful as an opening batter, knowing the incredible skill that he's got. But obviously the safety blanket would be moving back to number 4. But I'd love to see him continue to take on the opening spot, because he's got the skill to be able to do it. I see it changing a lot. The thing that when you talk about Pujara, for example, is he just doesn't make a mistake. Whereas, and you've seen so many of these incredible batters for India, the top order batters, someone like Jaiswal, he scored runs very quickly, but he hasn't made a mistake. So he hasn't really given the opposition a chance to be able to get him out. So that's really, I think, if those type of batters do come out to Australia and play aggressively, but just put the bad balls away and put the pressure on the Aussie bowlers, then they can still have that same effect, and they keep the game moving as well. So look, for me, with the calibre of batters that India have got and the skill they've got, there's no reason why they can't combine that, putting pressure on the bowlers, score quickly, but also not make mistakes, which you've seen those Indian batters in particular. Jaiswal, and we've seen Rishabh Pant come in and do it as well. We take the game on, but also don't really give the opposition many opportunities to be able to get them out. If he continues to do what he's been doing, it's high risk what he does, the way he takes the game on, but to be as consistent as he has is something very, very special. To do it in all formats for the last couple of years and take the game on like he has, it looks unconventional, it looks high risk, but he keeps churning through the runs. So I think he's going to have a huge impact on this, on the Border-Gavaskar series, because of his run-making ability, and just how he just throws the cat amongst the pigeons when it comes to bowling plans and that, because it's hard to be able to create a plan against him because he just goes so hard. Well, 2 jump out to me straight away. One is Rishabh Pant. He's obviously got great memories for his last tour that he had from a batting perspective. in Australia. That innings that he played at the Gabba was something very special. So he'll, knowing that he's come through his challenges in the last couple of years, to be able to come back as an even better player than what he left off, I think he's going to have a big series. Also, Bumrah is someone who, in Australian conditions, is in all conditions really well. In all conditions, he's so good. His ability to be able to just take wickets and get batters out, he's going to be very effective in Australia as well. So those two guys, if they have big series, they can really provide Australia with some big challenges. That's going to be the challenge for the Indian pacers, for the guys who haven't been out to Australia and bowled in those conditions. It's going to take whoever it is, your first tour when you're playing new conditions. It does take a little bit of time to be able to work out exactly how you can be most effective. So for those guys, those other bowlers that you mentioned, yeah, they're going to have to play a really good supporting act if they get an opportunity, for sure. Seeing Mukesh Kumar, what he's done just working with him at the Delhi Capitals, he obviously has got a good template to be able to do well in Australia with his lengths that he hits. So India in general have got some nice rounded sort of firepower to be able to back it up, but you just never know until they're out in the middle at the Gabba or at the SCG or somewhere where the conditions are a bit different to what they're used to whether they can make the adjustments quick enough to be effective, or whether it'll take a series for them to be able to work through what's worked, what didn't, and Australia will try and capitalise on that. Well, they'll just have to be at their best. The bowlers will just have to be at their best. There's no question. Whether that's Rishabh in the way he's batting at the moment, but just the Indian batters at the moment, when they're at their best, the Aussies are going to have to be relentless, consistently, like over after over, session after session, to be able to really try and strangle that Indian batting order. If they're slightly off, they're going to get punished because whether it's Rishabh, whether it's the other Indian batters, are just so highly skilled. So that's amazing. It's just going to be so many incredible contests throughout that whole Test series, and you're not going to want to miss a ball. Look, I'm a traditionalist at heart, so growing up, the Gabba was always the first Test match, and that's what the Test match I used to go to. I skipped school a couple of years for that period of the Test match to catch a train in to watch those Test matches. So from that perspective alone, and also knowing that to be able to come to the Gabba is a more challenging place to play for the foreign teams, because there's bounce, there's seam and there's swing, and it's hot and humid. So it just provides a few more challenges, whereas Perth, for example, it's not humid, the ball doesn't swing as much, doesn't necessarily seam as much as well. Yes, there's pace and bounce. So I always just love the Gabba as being the place for the touring team to be able to come in and have to try and just take on the Australian conditions at their sort of most challenging. So for me, yeah, there's obviously decisions being made for specific reasons for the venues that, for Perth, for example. But I'm a traditionalist at heart, so of course would love the Test series to start at the Gabba.